Sagittarius, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is going to be a general reading for you for May 2025. And in this month's reading, we're going to be looking at your healing journey. And in particular, I want to look at something that you're dealing with right now. I'm going to start off by looking at the past. So I'm going to look at the origin of the situation, kind of get the backstory of it. And then I'm going to turn to the present situation and where you're at right now and what you need to focus on. And then we'll look at the future. So once you've focused on that, excuse me, we're going to look at possibilities for future outcome. And then finally, we'll get an overall message for you at the end that you need to understand. That's going to help you hopefully move you forward. So to help me out with this reading, I'm going to pull 4 cards from Ina Segal's healing cards. And then I'm going to be using the Rider-Waite deck. I'm pulling out the big one. I haven't used that. It's probably the first deck I bought when I started tarot. Haven't pulled out for a long time. And then I'm also going to pull out the Light Seers Tarot, which again is one that I put away. And it was just, I was called to pull out those 2 decks for you. So I'll put you on speed shuffle right now while I set up your reading. All right, I'm back, Sagittarius. I'm just going to say that I don't think I've had so much trouble getting out cards. And especially when it came to your first healing card. And it was taking forever. My hand was getting really sore. So, and then in this area, it kind of spit out, yeah, it was just, wow. So maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll figure out why it was so difficult to get this out. There's something here that does not want to be, maybe something that doesn't want me to bring light to, or doesn't want me to bring up. But boy, this was really difficult. I was almost going to put the decks back and go, I want to, because there are certain decks I have that I can really work with, and I know that they're going to give me some cards, but it was just so tough. Like even this healing cards is not usually this tough. But so, and the other thing is I'll only accept one card for each section. And because it was so difficult getting out cards, and then the 2 came out, and I just went, I guess this is what it is. I guess these 2 needed to come out for you. And so you got the healing and the beauty in reverse. And when these come in reverse, and it's in her guidebook, in Ina Segal's guidebook, that it's time for you need to focus on this like in the next 7 days or something, she said. Like it's kind of like something that you need to focus on right away. So let's take a look at, first of all, the healing, and then we'll look at the beauty card and put those 2 together, and they're meant to go together. So this is the origin of the situation. So, oops, that one's stuck. And that came over here. Ace of Wands. All right. So healing. Illness and pain in your body is a message for you to slow down, look within, and make important changes. If you are experiencing stress, feel overwhelmed, are suffering ailments in your body, or feeling exhausted and depressed, it means that your body is trying to communicate to you. Your body wants you to start treating it in a more loving manner and listening to the messages it is sending you. You need to become conscious of the areas in your life that you are avoiding or suppressing. Healing takes time. It's a process. Your first step towards healing is to create a safe, loving, supportive environment where you can listen to your inner wisdom. So that's fascinating, because I did talk about how, it was so difficult. Your body's trying to communicate to you. There's something that is trying to say to you. Let's see what beauty says, number 17. Beauty talks about recognize your inner and outer beauty. You are beautiful. You're special and unique and attractive. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and felt good about what you've seen? Did you know that your features can literally change based on how you feel about yourself and your life? Your internal experiences are etched on your face and on your body. People can feel your energy when you enter a room. When a person who is not thought of as being physically good looking connects to their own inner light, their wisdom and warmth, the glow that emanates from within makes them extremely appealing and attracts people and opportunities towards them. Focus on what you love about yourself and allow yourself to shine. If you are challenged by how you see yourself, this could be a perfect time for an internal and external makeover. So I think a big part of what you're sitting with right now is your body's trying to communicate to you, but you're not listening to it. And if we are not feeling good about ourselves, if we don't think we're worth much, we will ignore our body. We will ignore anything it's trying to communicate to us. We won't believe that it's talking to us. And so I think this is really what you need to look at right now. And one of the messages that did come out about healing and in particular is in the Temperance here card is to tell you, is kind of reinforcing that this individual, this angel is dipping their toe in the water. And whenever there's water connected, whenever there's water in any of the cards, it will tell me that there's emotions involved here. And so I think there's some real emotions here that are buried in your body that you are shoving down and putting away and not wanting to deal with. And you know, one of them could be the unworthiness about yourself, since the healing and the beauty card came out. And Temperance reminds us that this is a journey, this is a process, and we dip our toe into these emotions a little bit at a time, right? Because if you're dealing with you know, big emotions like shame and unworthiness in your body, and when we want to try to connect to that, when we've gotten to a place where we just don't like ourselves, where we hate ourselves, we look in the mirror and go, ugh, you know, sometimes we don't want to look at these ugly emotions that we're hiding, that we need to, I mean, I shouldn't call them ugly emotions. I'm going to say these difficult emotions, because emotions aren't ugly. They're not negative or positive. They can be difficult. And I say ugly with shame because shame is a shitty feeling. It makes you feel ugly. When we carry around a lot of shame, it makes you feel shitty about yourself. And so the Temperance is saying, you know, this is going to take time. The Empress is here for you in reversed. And the Empress is the third card in the major arcana. And she represents a feminine quality in all of us that's been buried. And we all have this. It has nothing to do with gender. And she represents pure emotion. She is the feminine side of us. It's all about emotions. She's not afraid to go into her body. She's not afraid to feel. And I'm seeing here that she's in reverse, so she's blocked. And so maybe you're feeling a great deal of hopelessness right now. Like, you know, I feel like I'm trapped in my situation. Why bother? Why bother doing any of this? I'm a horrible person. I'm worthless. And yet there's a call for you to get back into your body, to get still so you can feel some of these emotions. And I know there's a call here because the Wheel of Fortune has showed up for you. And it doesn't come up often, the Wheel. The Wheel talks about these circumstances, things that have happened in her life. I mean, everybody has their own wheel of life that they're on, right? And I think of that Ferris wheel going up and it stops and then it lets people on and keeps going, you know. So different things happen to us in our life. And, you know, sometimes we can feel like it's stuck, and maybe you're in that position where you're feeling stuck. But the Wheel of Fortune now comes up when I know that it says, you know, you can nudge it, and only you can nudge it. You know, if you're feeling really stuck, if you're sitting there in all this depression and unworthiness and the shame about yourself, you're the one that can kind of nudge that wheel of fortune to start again, right? If you're feeling stuck. And so I think there's a nudge here that's needed for you. So where are you at right now? What do you need to focus on presently? Well, You have selling out here, which is the first card in here. Selling out. And right next to it is the Three of Swords, which is my card of a lot of pain. A lot of pain. So let's look at selling out before we get into the pain card. So your integrity and your inner strength are being severely tested right now. You have an opportunity to act with either fear or love. So where in your life are you selling out or acting out of integrity? Are you in a job you hate? Are you living in a toxic environment and making yourself sick in the pursuit of financial security? This card asks you to find the courage to stand up for your convictions and take steps towards doing what you love. Selling out is linked to the shadow aspect of the prostitute archetype. When you connect to this archetype, you can examine your fears around survival, power, responsibility, and success. On the light side, the prostitute can lead you to freedom, self-expression, choice, and love. So where in your life are you selling out or compromising your authenticity? Where in your life are you compromising it, but your authenticity and who you really are? You're selling out. And you have this pain. There's so much pain behind that. You know, where in your life, and there's just, and I think it's time for you to start to look at that and see, you know, you are sitting in a place where you're just feeling so unworthy about yourself. And what part of you are you selling out? Or what's compromising your authenticity? What's preventing you from getting back to who you really are? These three swords in here. Swords is all about our authenticity. It's all about our truth. It's all about the things that we tell ourselves. They're piercing your heart. Where are you telling yourself things about yourself that aren't true, that are continuing to hurt you, that are continuing to pierce your heart? And you have the Nine of Swords here. This individual that, these are the clarity. It's clarity for these two cards. The Nine of Swords is a card where you're hearing these. Swords is about our mental beliefs and the things, like I said, these things that you're telling yourself. And maybe they're keeping you up at night. Maybe you're waking up at night. You don't sleep well. You can't get to sleep, or you're waking up really early in the morning. And all these crows are like, crows are messengers. And just picture all these messages that are coming up for you, and you can't hear them. I mean, you've just blocked everything out. And also it could be, you know, you're telling yourself all these things. What are you telling yourself? What are these swords that you continue to tell yourself? And it's only you. The Strength card comes up here for you. And it's only you that has this strength to do this for you. And you do have it. This is the inner strength card. It comes up when it says, you can do this. You have the strength to do this. And you know, we talked about that Wheel of Fortune and nudging it into a certain direction. And I think there's a part of you that's thinking, I can't do this. How do I do this? Where do I start? But you've got to start small, and only you can do this. Start small to get yourself out of this situation that you're in, this unworthiness that you feel about yourself. And so what will happen? What are the possibilities for you in the future once you start to focus on and nurture yourself? Focus on you and nurture this inner beauty that you have that you're not looking at, right? You're probably looking at everything exterior around you and looking for signs out there as to why you're such an unworthy person, when inside is your truth. And that's where you need to go. So your possibilities here, you have the hole in the soul as your future possibilities. And it's in reverse because it's really something you need to focus on. And it says, your childhood wounds are creating a hole in your soul. One way your childhood wounds disrupt disrupt an extraordinary life is through low-grade depression, experienced as a perpetual empty feeling. If, as a child, you tried to make everything all right by picking up the pieces of your family dramas, then you adopted a false self. When you lose your authentic self, you disconnect from your true feelings, needs, and desires. Instead, you wear a mask to make others feel more comfortable. This card encourages you to discover your true self through learning about your childhood and mourning the abandonment and the neglect that you felt. So this is all coming back to your childhood and how you felt where you didn't matter. And so you're sitting here in a position of the shame and not mattering. And there's a real pull here from the universe that's saying you do matter, but you alone are the only one that can realize that. You alone are the one that can nudge that wheel of fortune and start to realize that you do matter. And so what do you need to know about your childhood wounds right now? What is it that you need to look at that really has brought you to a place where you didn't matter when you were younger? Because it's almost like you're living a flashback right now of what it was like when you were a childhood. And I'm going to talk about this area because this was, and I did talk about how your cards really had a hard time coming out. And one of the cards that was, when I was trying to get the cards, well, let me start off with the Ace of Pentacles first. Yeah, and then I'll get into this Devil card over here. So the Ace of Pentacles right here is an offer from the universe. And I think there's a real call for you right now. This is a gift from the universe that says, Sagittarius, do you want to take this right now? Do you want to take this pentacle? It's the body. This is the earth element. This is the card that says, I think it's time for you to focus on getting back into your body, to recognize what your body is. You got the Empress card over here at the beginning. She's the one that feels all her emotions. Now, the only way that the Empress card, the only way that she can feel her emotions is she has to be grounded in fully into her body, because our emotions live in our body. And I think you really are very much up in your head right now. And your ego likes to keep you there. There is a card, one of them, that says something about, are you going towards the fear or love? And I think there's a real need for you to go towards loving yourself. And that's a hard one. I had a hard time with that myself as well. But when you start to put you first, and it could be the smallest little step, that's it. That's a step to loving yourself. Or you can sit in the fear. Because if we sit in the fear, we're not going to be in our body. We're going to be up in our head where our ego wants us to stay so we don't touch these emotions. But there's a real call for you to get grounded and to get back into your body. And then when I needed some clarifiers about these two cards. The Devil card showed up, and it was in my deck as I started, and it was upright. And I went, I don't know if I flipped this. I was going to put it back, and I went, no, just keep it out for now. Sorry, the Devil card talks about attachments. And in particular, it talks about, our addictions that we can have. We can be attached to people. We can be attached to things. I don't have to name all the addictions because we all know our addictions. We all know those things that will numb us out, where we can be sitting in, it seems like you might be sitting in some depression here. And depression itself almost can be something that we can hold on to as an attachment, to be stuck. We can sit in that depression, in that hopelessness for a long time, because that prevents us from going to those emotions where we really need to go to. Because behind that depression can be big emotions like grief and shame that we need to go to. And so we sit there and say, well, I feel so hopeless right now. And yeah, we do. And we think it's about the situation that we're in right now. But depression is actually about something that we felt when we were younger. And so it's like it's a flashback, Because when we were younger, we did. We couldn't get out of our situation. But as an adult, you can. You can nudge that wheel of fortune, right? You can get back into your body. You can start feeling again. And you get the Queen of Wands here. So here's the Queen again. Here's your feminine energy, that feminine side of you that's repressed in all of us. And she has the wand. She has that wand of your creativity, your true purpose of putting yourself first. And that's creative on your part. To put yourself first and say, I matter. I fucking matter in this world, right? I matter. And I'm going to put myself first. And I'm going to feel. And I'm going to go towards the sun. And whatever the sun is for you. The sun for me is just like opening up that crack. If I'm sitting in this period of absolute despair and hopelessness, well, the sun for me is like, I'm going to crack that open just a bit. I'm going to take my foot off that couch and I'm going to say, yeah, I matter. And that's the sun. That's going towards your joy. That's going towards your love for yourself. And that's the sun of letting that light in, right? Of what small little step can you let that light in? Here's the Four of Swords right here. And see this individual that's cocooned themselves in this nest, right? And this is you right here. You've cocooned yourself in this nest. Well, that's what the universe wants you to do. But the universe wants you to cocoon yourself, but get a place where you feel safe. The universe wants you to get to a place where you feel safe, where you can start to get back in your body and start to feel like, why do I feel this hopelessness about my situation? But you have to get yourself still. You have to get yourself to a place of safety. And, sometimes it means, we have to recognize and bring awareness to, okay, why do I have these attachments? There's not one part of me that's going to say, you need to stop your addictions, because that's not my job. I'm not a therapist. But I will say you need to bring awareness to them. But you also need to get yourself still right now into a safe place, to almost like cocoon yourself. Not in a place of where you're going to stay in your depression, but a place where you need to get safe and still, so that you can start to get back in your body and feel some of these emotions. So what do you need to understand? What's the overall understanding here, Sagittarius? You have the home card, number 35, which is, how do you keep recreating your home? And home is in quotations here. In the context of this teaching, let's use the word home to describe your unconscious ability, so it's something you're not aware of, to attract intimate partners with the positive and negative qualities your parents instilled in you. So oftentimes the people that we bring into our space, intimate partners, it could be other people that you're dealing with as well, where we recreate this feeling of home, where it's kind of like familiar to us, because that's what it was like when it was growing up. And so it sounds like you've created this space right here for yourself of, you're stuck in this, I can't go on. Why bother going on? Like, what's the use? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. And that's where you're sitting in. And that's how you felt when you were younger. This card honors the wounded child in you that keeps recreating home, hoping to get to your childhood developmental codependency needs met. And this could be a card of codependency as well. And maybe that's where it's coming in, where you've convinced yourself that you're within a relationship here, where it's become a codependent relationship, and you convinced yourself maybe that you're safe, but you need to get safe. You might even provoke the other to act or look like your original parent. In a world where so many of our natural emotions were not encouraged, and worse yet, they were suppressed, You are now encouraged to feel the feelings that are trapped inside of you that consistently sabotage your life. So for some of us, home was an amazing, empowering, and happy place. But for most of us, it was lacking. There was unease and hurt. This is imprinted on your nervous system, which forces the dysfunction you had with your partners to rise to the surface with your current partner and people that are close to you. And so there's a real need here to recognize that you can recreate some of these patterns that you had with your own parents, with people in our life today. And maybe there's a huge part of you that's sitting in a situation like that you know, this reading needs to bring awareness to. It's very interesting that you have the Tower card comes right behind this home card. It's in reverse. And so the Tower card for me in an upright position is a huge baseball bat from the universe that says, you know, the universe has been trying to get your attention about this situation that you're sitting in, Sagittarius, right now. And they've tried. They've sent you red flags over and over and over again. But you don't hear it. And I think when we got this healing card and this beauty card come up, it's like this, it really was clear to me that you aren't hearing it. You're not listening to your body. And so the Tower card is coming up here saying, we've sent you many red flags to say you're not listening. And I think you're so much up in your head and stuck, I think, behind this unworthiness here. And the Tower card in reverse comes in and says, this is a final red flag for you, Sagittarius. I think this is really urgent for you, Sagittarius, that you need to deal with this situation that you're sitting in right now. The universe wants to bring you to a place where you feel comfortable in your own skin. And I think there's a real need for you to get back to this place where you feel comfortable being you and just to get in touch with you again. Because when we can become, if we're in a codependent relationship or when we're attached to these that numb us out, we really attach to things that numb us out, we really can lose sense of who we are and being comfortable in who we are. And the Ace of Wands comes here as the last card. And the Ace, again, like I said, is a gift from the universe. And it's almost like, here you go. Here's the wand. If you take this wand that the universe is offering you right now, this one final red flag here, it's like, we're going to take you. If you take that little step on your own, you know, that little nudge that you're being asked with this, the Wheel of Fortune, it's up to you to nudge this wheel again. Here's the wand. That's the one that goes towards your creativity, your purpose. Like, look at this light that's coming out of her third eye here, right? There's like this promise of, something opening up for you. And we talked about the opening up with the Sun card, right? There's a crack here. There's something that's going to open up for you. And that always happens when we take that small little step ourselves. And then something else is going to open up for you, a new direction. But it's you that has to take that small step. And so, Sagittarius, I'm going to leave you with a video that I just did on my other channel. It's called My 10 Powerful Lessons That I've Learned on My Healing Journey. And so, you know, there's some lessons in there that I'm sure you're going to relate to right now. You can have a look at that if you like. In the meantime, I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. I know this is the most difficult journey, the healing journey, but it's the most powerful one. And it's the most important one. So take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.